Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to Nihira Techiees. In this video, we can talk about some important interview questions in Angular application with some practical examples. So in our channel, we recently completed this Angular 13 series. In this series, we almost completed all the topics. And if you are not watched the video, I will add the video link in the description. You can watch it. So before moving to the question and answer section, I'm going to provide some introduction about this Angular application. So basically this Angular is a framework for developing the web application. It's completely free of cost. So it's your open source and it's provided by Google. They are providing long-term support. Now let's talk about some of the advantages. So it is a cross-platform development support. In the Angular application, we can develop in any of the operating system. And the second one is speed and performance. So basically this Angular framework is the lightweight framework and it's a single page application. So we can use this component related concept. So and we can use this lazy loading. So in order to the performance is completely improved. The next one is faster development process. So in the Angular application, we are creating the components. So in the components, the same time multiple developers can use because it's completely loosely coupled thing. And one more thing, we can create some reusable component. We can reuse in the different places. Now let me move on this question and answer section. So my first question is how to identify this Angular application version and this Angular CLI version. So currently I'm having one project. If you want to verify my project version, I just go to this package.json. In this package.json, we have this dependency side. Here, just to check like Angular core. So the version is 13.1.0. This is my project version. And the next one is Angular CLI version. Okay, basically we will install this Angular CLI in our development machine. For checking this one, we have to go to this command prompt. So let me open my command prompt. So we have to provide the command is ng version. So basically it will take some time. We can move on to the next question. We will see the output little later. And the second one is what is the default port number for the Angular application running in the localhost and how to change the port number. Yes, our default port number is 4200. See, our application is running and this is the 4200. How to change this port number? Yes, obviously we have three options to change this port number. The first one is running the application. Basically we will use this npm start or else ng-serve. So if you are using this ng-serve, you have to include this line, the port, and we have to provide our port number also. And in case if you are using npm start, you have to add this line in the package.json. So basically in the package.json we have the scripts. So inside we have option like build start test. So in the start side already we have this ng-serve, so we need to include the port and port number. And the final option is we can include the port number in this angular.json. So now let me go to this angular.json. Here we have this section is serve and it's a production or a development. So we are doing the development, the localhost. So here I can include like port. Okay, the default value 4200 is coming. If you want to change the port number, you just change. After that, you have to run your application. So it will be changed automatically. See our the first one is ng version is running fine. You see the output like Angular CLI version is 13.3.4 and the node version is 16.15 and the package manager, I mean this npm version is 8.5. So you will get the complete information. Okay, now we have completed the two questions. So let me move on our third question. What is component in Angular application? So basically this component is the building block of application in Angular. So each and every component have their own logic and design. So that's what it's completely separated. We have the TS file and this HTML file. The HTML file we can create our own design and any logics we can handle from our TS file. And the next one is the application may have n number of components. We can create the multiple components and also we can reuse the component. So these are the valid points. So as I mentioned, this component is consist of three files. One is the TS and HTML and CSS. Okay. And also if you want create any component, we have one CLI command ng generate and component. We have to provide this component name. So the short form of generate I use the G and short form of component I am use the C. Okay, so let me show in the application itself. So in the application I am already created the n number of components. So let me show the default component is the app component. So this is my component file. This is a TS file and every component is created using this add component decorator and it have this selector name app root. The selector name is nothing but our component name and this template URL and another one is CSS file. So we have the separate HTML file and we have referred one CSS file also. Both are included. So and one more important thing is if you are creating the CLI, if you are creating this component using the CLI command, it will generate one spec file also. This spec file basically used for the unit testing. So now my next point is what is inline style and inline template. So as I mentioned, the component consists of three files. In case if I am creating one component without the CSS file, just assume the scenario, I don't have much changes in the CSS file. I have the limited changes. So in this case, I am not required to use the separate CSS file. Instead of that, I can handle everything from our component itself. Okay, for creating this component like this, you have to use this command ng generate component and your component name. So finally, you have to provide this inline style. The same way inline template. You don't have much changes in our HTML side. You can use this inline template. The very important thing is while we are creating this component, you can use inline style and inline template for the same component also. So let me try this one. I'm just copying. Instead of this customer, I'm going to use supplier because this customer I used many times. Let me enter this one. It requires some space. So let me enter it. It will take some time. So meanwhile, we can continue with the next question. So the next one is what is interpolation? So basically after completing our logic, we will get some kind of values we have to show to the user. That means we have to bind in the HTML. For doing this data binding, this interpolation will support. Basically whatever value you are getting, it is just converting the string format and it will bind in the particular element. Okay. And the syntax is double curly braces. So I will show you. I'm just going to one of the component is employee listing. So basically I get the list of data. So I'm just creating this for loop. Then I'm binding these values. See? So in this item.code I'm getting some values which gets binded here and the name value. So this curly braces is I'm used. So if you want to see the output also, admin user admin. So see all the records are loading. So now I'm trying to do some changes in the code. So now the code we don't have any value because I just removed. Okay, this is all about the interpolation. Now we can check this inline style and template. I think its file is generated. Yes. See. So this is our folder. It has one spec file. It's not required. So only TS file. It's not generated in any HTML or CSS file. But we need to add, right? So for that we have the section is called template. So inside the template, you will provide your own HTML. And the next one is style. So inside the style side, you can include your own style. This is all about it. And the next one is what is pipes. So pipes are nothing but just a formatter. It is basically work like a function. It will take some input and based on the condition, it will do some changes and return some kind of string, and we can bind in our element. So we have n number of pipes like uppercase, lowercase, and currency format, date format. So let me show you. So in the name, I'm going to use one of the pipe. So the pipe syntax is this line. So after that, we have to provide our pipe name. So uppercase is my pipe name. See, the name values are coming in the uppercase. And we have the currency pipe also. Actually, this is a phone number, but anyway, it's integer. So I'm trying to apply this currency pipe here. Let me remove this one. The phone, I'm going to use currency. See the output, the dollar and some formattings for the currency. So it's a default currency value. Even you can give your own country currency symbols also. So for me, I'm going to give the currency for our country, India. So INR. See the currency symbol is changed. So in that way, we can pass any parameters also to our pipes. Now let me move on to the next question. What is property binding? And also the next question, what is the difference between property binding and interpolation? Okay, we can cover both. So we can discuss both things. First, the syntax of the property binding is like this. Basically, this property binding used to set the values for any property. Just to assume I'm having one checkbox. I'm trying to set the values for checked or not. This home component, I'm going to include one checkbox, and I have the property checked. So here I'm applying this property binding, and we have to provide the values is checked. Okay, we can see the output. See, so our checkbox is defaultly checked. Now I am trying to change the value false. So now it's a unchecked. Okay. The similar way we can bind any value for the text box value and some other properties like a name, whatever it is we can include. Then the same thing we can achieve from the interpolation also. Why not means, so the interpolation basically takes any value, it is just converting in the string format. After that it's binding. But this property binding, it's just taking the exact value. So our current scenario, actually we are using this Boolean data format, okay? And let me explain you using this interpolation concept also. So instead of this property binding, I'm going to use this interpolation. So now it's checked. Even we have the value as a false, it's checked because it's considering as the string value. So that's why even if I'm trying to change this is the true, again it's just considering as the string, there is no change. Okay. So mostly if you are having like a data type is the Boolean related means, so you can go with this property binding. And the next one is what is model. So basically model is doing the very important role in our Angular application. So we have some default models like a common model and also the browser model for rendering our application in the browser. And other than that, we have the default model. Default model is app model. So this is the place for grouping our components, pipes, services for doing the complete operation. You just consider authentication is a model. So inside that we have the different functionalities like registration and password reset, login, all are individual functionalities. So for the individual functionalities, we can create the separate component and we can get combined in the single place. So that's all about this model. So every model is defined using this ng model. So whatever component we are creating for the particular model in the declaration side, we need to include. And in case if you are referring any additional models like and in case you are using this reactive forms, you then you have to use this reactive form model. So we need to include in this import side. So the first two are the default thing. One is for the browser model and another one is app routing model. So this app routing model is used for this routing side. We can see in the next topic. So next one is what is directives. The directives are classes that can change the behavior or look and feel of any HTML element in the Angular application. Basically, we have three types of directives. One is component directive and another one is the structural directive. The third one is attribute directives. Okay, these component directives, we already have a component. This component also one of the directive. And these structural directives. For this one, we have ngIf, ngFor, and another one is ngSwitch. So let me show you. So in the same listing only, so you can see this section, ngIf. So in the error message, it's not having any value only. I need this content. Otherwise, this table is not required. For doing this yes or no operation, I am just using ngIf. The next one is ngFor. So I am having the list of records. I need to loop through and bind in the table. So for that, I am using this ngFor. This is the syntax let item of and my list name. So even this item also, you can provide your own name convention. That's fine. The similar way we can use this ng switch also. So the next one is this attribute directives. So in this Angular application, basically we have an ng class and ng style. These are the attribute directives we have. This is for doing this kind of some dynamic class binding or style binding. In just assume the situation, you have your styles and the classes are all coming from the database itself. In this scenario, we can go with them attribute directives. And the next one is routing. So routing is the doing very important role in the Angular application. So basically, MVC we used to say it's a kind of URL pattern matching. But in the Angular application, for navigating one view to another view, we can use this routing concept. So the routing consists of three important sections. One is routes. So this routes is the class for grouping or else mapping any component into path. So let me show you this. So default routing file, this app routing dot model. So this is the routes. So you just consider this section. So I'm provided this path name is empty and our component name is home component. The similar way I am added for some others components also. So whatever value I am added in this path, I have to provide in this link side. So the next one is what I said, this router outlet. This is the place to load these active components. And the third one is router link. This is the directive to navigate different routes. That's what. Let me show you in the app component. I'm added this link. This is just an anchor tag. Just to consider this one. So this is the router link. Here we are provided the path name. So once you are clicked this link, so it will check the path in our app routing file. Okay, we have the path. So path is matched. After that, it will take the particular component and it will load in the place of router outlet. So what is the active component? It will just load in the router outlet. That's what I mentioned. This is the place to load the active component. Okay, the next one is what is child routing. So creating a new route inside the another route. It's called child routing. The same example only. Let me show you. I am have an parent route is the for employee. Here I am added the section is children. In the children I am having the create and edit. So in the real-time scenarios I am just going to this list. If I am editing, so see the URL inside the emblem I am having this edit and also I am having some parameters. So this is called about this child routing. So the next one is Angular route card. This Angular route card is an interface which can be implemented to decide if your route can be activated. So basically it is used for implementing this authentication. So let me show you. So once you are created your route, I mean your card. So I am already having 3 cards. Just to see it is having an interface, I'm just implemented can activate. Here I'm checking whether I'm logged in or not. If I'm logged in, it's true. Otherwise, I'm just redirecting to the login page and also returning is a false. Okay. This is the thing actually I'm implemented. So once we created our card, we have to map in our routing file. So the same thing already I'm included here. So the can activate add card. And in some cases for implementing this role-based authentication, I'm created one more card for role cards. So here actually I'm checking what is the role. So based on the role I'm checking it's not matched. I'm showing the message is called unauthorized access. So let me show you. I'm just logged out. Here I'm trying to give employee. It's not going to this employee page. It's just redirecting to the login page. How it's happened? So first the request is going to the our app routing.model, and now the request moving to the auth card. So in the auth card it's checking whether it's logged in or not. It's not logged in, so it's just returning as a false, and also it's navigating to the login page. So this is the concept. The next one is services. The services are the TypeScript classes. It is having an injectable decorator. So this file basically we can inject in the any of the components, and the use point of view for consuming these HTTP services and also transferring data between the components, we can use these services. So let me show you one of the service. Just to go to this employee services. See here, it's created using this injectable decorator. So after that, I am using some HTTP services. That's what in the constructor I'm injected this HTTP client. So see, here I'm just consuming. I'm having this get method and delete method, post method for everything. We have to pass this API URL, and if it's having any value, we supposed to pass it. So this is all about the services. The next one is HTTP interceptor. The HTTP interceptor also kind of the service class. It is used to we can modify any HTTP request. So basically we can use for passing any authorization token. So in that situation we can go with an HTTP interceptor. So let me show you. In my application I'm having this token interceptor. Okay. So I'm just created one interceptor. Here actually I'm taking the authorization token from one of the method and I'm adding. So for any request from our application, this token is also automatically gets passed. That's what I'm using this one. So basically it's having some kind of configuration. Once you are implemented your logic in our HTTP interceptor, you have to include in the app.model. So in the provider side, we have to give like this. Provide HTTP interceptor use classes, and what is the class, and multi-true. That means we can use the same interceptor for multiple services. So if you want to get some more details about this HTTP interceptor, just check our playlist and the video, so you will get the complete information. The next one is, can we develop Angular application without Visual Studio Code? Yes, we can develop. So I would suggest to use this Visual Studio Code. It's very good. Even you can use any of the code editor. But the important thing is you should have installed the npm in your machine. I mean the Node.js you should install, and also you have to install this Angular CLI. So you can use any operating system, any source code editor, even this notepad also we can use. So next important thing is how to transfer the data between the components. So basically we have the four ways. The first one is parent to child, passing data from one component to another component using this at input decorator. And the second one is passing data to child to parent using this at output decorator. And the third one is at view child. Basically this one also used to transfer data between parent to child only. Even if you are and get some response also you will get. That's what I'm provided. That's what I'm put as the bidirectional. Even using the services, the combination of observable, also it's possible to change exchanging data between these components. So our next topic is forms in Angular application. This is very major role. So forms are used to handle the user inputs. So forms are providing the feasibility for the validations, and we can write our custom validation also, and it's having own events. So basically in the Angular application we have two types of forms. One is the template driven form and another one is the reactive forms. So we will see the next topic. So our next question is, can we use Bootstrap in Angular application? Yes, obviously we can use this Bootstrap. So we have the ng Bootstrap. This is completely for the Angular application. First you have to install this Angular CLI command. Once it's installed, basically they are providing n number of components. So you just click this component. You see kind of alerts and a model, navbars. So they have provided everything as the component. So you can get the code information also, what we need to give in the HTML side, what supposed to give in the TS file. So you can use everything in our application. So do we have the another option instead of this bootstrap? Yes, obviously we have this material UI also. So in the material UI also providing the similar what is called the similar component related things. But if you are asking which one is better, whether it's a material UI or bootstrap, it's all about depending on the situation. So if you are expecting the performance, then you go with an bootstrap. If you want to expect good look and feel, some attractive UI, then you can go with an material UI. And the next one is reactive forms in Angular application. So the reactive forms are providing this model driven approach to handling these inputs. Whole values change over the time. We can handle these validations and logics from the TS file itself. So let me show you. I am already used. So in the employee add component, see I'm just used this one. This employee form is nothing but my reactive form. So basically we will use this form group, and inside that we have to specify our form control names. If you have any default value, you have to specify like this, and also properties. And the validations, we have the classes called validators. Using that we can include any validation. In some cases, if you want to specify more than one validation for the particular control, you have to use this validator.compose. So this is the basic initialization of reactive files. I mean this reactive forms in our TS file. So in our HTML side, you just specify like this, the form group. So whatever name we have defined, we have to just give, and the ng submit. This is for handling this event. And for every input control, we have to provide this form control name. So I'm just giving this code. So this code basically work like a, what is the code? Okay, the value is empty and it should be disabled. So similar way it will work even for getting the data from the forms. You can check like this whether it's the data are valid, and after that you can get the values from our form. Okay, so if you want show some custom validation messages, just to get like this for any HTML element. So you have to provide your own custom error messages based on some conditions. You can handle it the similar way. What is template driven form in Angular application? The template driven forms are used as two-way binding to update the data model in the components as changes made in the template and vice versa. So mostly we are handling the changes from our HTML file. That is the different. So if you are handling some kind of complex project, the reactive form is the suitable approach. Very small forms like just registration page, then you can go with an TDF. And the next one is what is two-way binding. The two-way binding means that the data related changes in the view updated to the model. Similarly, the model changes automatically gets updated in the all views. So what are the views are referring the same data, so it will be automatically updated. And other words, this is the combination of event binding plus this property binding. The syntax also see. So in this way only we have to use. So let me show one demo. I am just coming to my home component. The home component, I am already having one input data. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, let me remove these all the things. Here also I'm going to have one h3 tag, and I am using this property binding. Let me add it. For doing this, what is called this two-way binding, I have to use this ng model. So ng model. Okay, we have done it. So see now, this is my text box. So if I'm typing like this is my text box. So it's automatically gets binded here. Anyway, passing the data also I'm using the same variable only. So here also it's changed. If I'm removing everything, it's completely removed. So welcome to Nihira Techiees. So that's what I've just mentioned. If there is any data changes in the templates, it's affecting to the model, and also it's referred to the views. Even the child view also referring the same variable. So just the data are gets updated. And very important thing I want to convey, if you are using this two-way binding, you should have to include this form model in our app model. Otherwise, it will won't work. Okay, the event binding we already seen. Because the syntax like this, you can specify any of the events. So the next one is what is observable. So observables are basically comes under this RxJS. So observable, it is a kind of function that can hold the bulk of data. If there is any data change, it will emit automatically. So in the real time, we will consume some external services. That value is also coming as the what is called observable only. For any observable without a subscription, it won't work. So let me show you. So this is my employee listing component. So in the page load, we have the load all method. So what I did, I'm just consuming one of the method. So basically, see this load employee will return the observable data only. So I'm just subscribing. So in the subscribe time, whatever data so I'm getting, just I am using it. Without subscription, we cannot get the data. So let me go to the definition of this load employee. So here be nothing written. So I'm actually added this observable. Even if I'm not providing this observable also, the value it will return the observable data only. So the next one is RxJS. What is RxJS? So RxJS is a library for doing this reactive program. It is easier to compose asynchronous or call back the code, and it provides some a number of operators. We can use it. And if you want get more information about this one, I created the separate playlist for this one. I will share that link also in the description. You can watch it. And the next one is what is the difference between session storage and local storage? So basically we can use session storage and local storage for storing some information like basically these tokens we used to save. The session storage have the expiration time. If you are close to this tab, the session storage data will be removed. But in the local storage, if you are manually removed only, it will be removed. Otherwise, the data will be available for any time. Even in case if you are added the data in the one tab and trying to open some other tab, the data will be available. Even if you are closing the browser also, the data will be available for next time when you are opening. That's all about it. And the next one is how to run this unit testing in Angular application. The unit tests are written using this Jasmine, and the unit testings are written using this Jasmine and are run to see the individual part of an application. The Angular uses the Karma as the test runner for the project for the unit tests. So if you go to the application, just to go to this Angular.json, here we have this karma.js. Okay, in the karma.config, it is having some launcher related information. This is all about for the testing related things. For if you are creating any component or services, it will generate one spec file. This is basically used for this unit testing. The next one is lazy loading. The lazy loading is the process of loading the components, models, or other assets of the website when they are really required. Until it's not required, it won't load. For explaining this one, I am going to create one new model. So ng generate model, and my model name is customer. Okay, and I need the separate what is called the routing file. So I have to give the command like this. So it will take some time and it will generate the component, I mean the model. Okay, our model is created. So it's having one routing file and also one model. That's it. So let me create one component for this particular model. So ng generate component. So this is for customer. So customer slash list. Okay, done. Our component is created, the list component. Now let me add this one in the routing side. So the procedure is same. First we have to provide our the path. So path is list, and the next one is component. So component is list component. So we have done. Now let me go to our app component. Here I am going to create one more new path for this customer model. The path customer. Okay. For implementing this lazy loading, we have the option is called load children, and here we need to import our model. So in the customer folder, we have the file is called customer model. So dot then, so customer model. Okay, we have did the declaration. Now let me go to the app component. Here I am going to add one more link. This is for customer. So the inside the customer we have the list, because in this app routing model we have the customer, and in our customer model we have the name is called list. I mean, yeah, list only. So let me complete this one, and the name is customer. So let me refresh it. So we have the customer line. So if I'm clicking this customer, the list stores. This is the output only I'm getting. So let me show the exact output of the lazy load. You just inspect our screen and go to the source. So in the source we have an webpack. So inside we have source, then the app. You don't have this customer folder. You cannot see. until I am clicking this customer. So when I am clicking this customer, see the customer folders are coming. So inside that we have this list. So everything is there. Initially we don't have this one. So that's what whenever it's required this particular component or model, then only it will load. Until it's not required, it cannot load. That is all about this lazy loading. Then what is the difference between observable and a promise? The promise is always synchronous, and while an observable can be either synchronous or asynchronous. So observable return data many times. So as I mentioned, if there is any data change, it will emit automatically. But this promise emits a single value. So observables are lazy collections of multiple values over a time. It is really a great approach for synchronous operations. Promise are not lazy. And the final point is observable can be cancelled for any time using this unsubscribe. This promise cannot be cancelled. That's it. So this is our final slide. What is subject in Angular application? Okay, the subject also belongs to the RxJS. So it is just like an observable, but it can multicast to many operators. Subjects are like event emitters. They maintain a registry of multiple listeners. So if you want to get more details, that also please refer my RxJS playlist. And the final is what is the replacement of Bootstrap. We already discussed it's a material UI and how to show the notifications. We have the multiple options. We can use this default JavaScript also, but if you want good look and feel, you can use some additional plugins like Alertify. You can use it. And how to deploy this Angular application. Obviously, we can deploy in any of the server, even IAS also we can use. So now we are in the end of the video. I hope you really enjoyed this video. You will get some good points about this Angular 13. I will share whatever information in the PPT in this description, and whatever links I mentioned include in the description. You can refer it. So I request you to subscribe my channel and please stay tuned for my next videos. And if you have any suggestion about this Angular application, some particular topics, you just mention it. I will create the video for that one. And recently we have enabled the membership. So if you are joined in the group, you will get the instant response from comments and also the mails. Thank you. Thanks for watching.